Hello, everyone. How are you doing? I hope everyone's doing well. This is the first time that we're doing a Warp stream that isn't around a launch or isn't around any specific event. We're just kind of inventing our own Advent event. We're building an Advent of Warp calendar. And this is just going to be like a let's build in public together on something that is both useful and maybe a little bit educational as we're building this thing together. So sound off in the chat if you're joining us from anywhere exotic. Last time we had so many people from India, UK, some people in the Americas. I'm guessing that because this is a stream in the afternoon, anyone who tunes in is going to be from a completely different spot. Invent that Advent. There you go. Thank you. Sarah, I think if I'm getting that profile pic correct, welcome in. Good to see you. So was just kind of setting the scene here. We are building an Advent calendar for all of the things that we've been sharing out on socials that Warp is able to do. And I thought making a microsite around it would be a fun little idea. And what better way to build an Advent calendar than to do it in public with other people? So let me at least pull up here. I'm watching live from Rwanda. That is incredible. See, there's the amount of, I don't know, just the reach that you get through YouTube, just putting up a little beacon is absolutely incredible. Okay, so let me take a look at the Warp Twitter so that I can show y'all what we are aggregating here. Doing a little screen. Oh gosh, my macOS screen share went away. That should be pretty quick to fix. Okay, display capture. That we'll share that briefly, and there we go. All right, there we go. So if we take a look here, this is the Warp Twitter. This is something that we've been sharing out over the past since day one. We actually started on day 2, and I made a little joke about an off by 1 error because we weren't going to do an Advent calendar originally. Now we are. So every day we're sharing out a little tip of something that you can do inside of Warp. Like, for example, hitting the Git diff viewer to look at your Git changes before you actually commit them. This is something that not a lot of people use. We have the analytics, but I use it every single day. Even if I'm building something that's like a web dev project, and maybe I'm pulling up VS Code to edit some things, I'm still going to Warp just to look at the Git viewer because I genuinely think it's a little bit better than VS Code. So we shared that out as a little tip. We also shared out, the Advent calendar itself. We've been talking about there's a model switcher in Warp, which is really cool. There's also a way to compare the quality of different models if you're confused about what you should use and when, so on and so forth. We also had one for web search, just showing you can use web search in Warp. Just ask a question that involves research, and the model should be smart enough to go search for things. Especially, I think it's Claude and OpenAI right now, but we're working on a general purpose solution for all the models that should be landing pretty soon. And then I'll just highlight one more before we get into the code. Would it be nice if your terminal had a file tree? Yeah, a lot of people were really mad about this. Sorry about peaking. Let me move my microphone back a little bit. So a lot of people have strong thoughts on this Advent calendar tip. So we have this file tree that's built into Warp, which I have called a terminal because it is. And a lot of people really hate that there is a file tree built into their terminal. And I'm shocked. I'm like, how is this not just a helpful little thing that you can use if you want and ignore it if you don't? A lot of opinions, a lot of takes, a lot of people saying, is Warp an IDE now? I don't know. But that is one of the Advent calendar tips that we're going to be putting on here. So that's a general overview. These are the things that we want to aggregate. Now let me show you the mocks. So this is something that worked on with the design team over at Warp, and I love it. So this is the Advent calendar that we're going to be building, and it's kind of like a bento box style or masonry grid style. The legendary hard mode for CSS is actually pulling off this layout. So we're going to see if Opus is able to do it, and then we'll tweak the code if not. But you can see every day is represented by a little box, and you can click on the box in order to open it up and then see what the tip is inside of it. And we also put some nice fonts and illustrations. I drew these on my iPad, and then they did a little trace to make it look like it's a wood carving. I love it. It's great. The one weird part is they made the fox that I drew look more like a cat. So Decide yourself. Is it a fox? Is it a cat? We don't know. But we're definitely going to be talking about /plan on this day so that it's relevant. So I actually need to make sure. Is today the 11th? No, that's tomorrow. Okay. Tomorrow's going to be planning. But yeah, this is the layout. You can open up any of these on the calendar and you can see what the tip is inside. And we're thinking it'll be like an overlay with a little letter on top of it where it shows you the date, the text, and I'm just going to be using Markdown files to track this. We could do a super fancy Twitter API integration, but these days the Twitter API is such a mess. It's really hard to use, so I don't want to ship something with that. We're going to be using Astro with the content API so that we can just write up little Markdown files every day that have the tip of something that you can do and a link to go watch the video. We could also just embed the video directly. I'm kind of debating if we will, but I'm thinking the way we'll do it is you get the text, maybe there's a screenshot, and clicking on that redirects to the tweet. And that's it. So it's just like a modal view and then a little calendar view. And maybe we'll have some animations when you open a box or something like that to make it a little bit more fun. Oh, you're from Washington? Hello, Sarah. I'm just checking on the chat before we jump in. What makes most of my tasks easy? Amazing. Well, I'm glad to hear it, man. And I'm glad you're here, too. Love to build in public? Me, too. The Ivory Coast? Yes, indeed. That's amazing. Well, I think it will be amazing once we bring it to life. No doubt. Okay. So now that we have all this stuff, I did download all of the assets so that we don't have to go through all of that rigmarole. So let me show you over here. In my controversial file tree, I put these into my downloads folder in Warp. And something you can do, you can hit command backslash, and that'll give you a file tree for whatever is currently in that terminal session. So you can see here I have a few things saved. I have my letter decorations, which are these little guys right over here. There's like that. That's these. And I'll click on that just to show y'all one of them. You can see it's just like a PNG with the carve out. And then we have our drawers, and all of these are exports for each day on the calendar. Also, I don't like how we're sorting these alphabetically. We should consider numbers. It's technically sorted, but it's funky. It's very funky. I'll bring that to the team. That's very funny. But you can see every drawer is exported as its own PNG here. Arguably, it could be a JPEG now I'm thinking about it, but it is rounded corners. So it has the font and the tree baked in here, mostly because it was the easiest way to export from Figma. And I'm going to have some accessibility baked in where we have like an accessible label for the day before you click on it. So here's like day 10. You can see it's like a different shape. So on and so forth. So all of those are inside of here. And then I also have the textures. So we have like the letter pop out. That is a texture. Then we have the wood texture right here, which is like the backing for the entire shelf where all of these things live. And that's it. So those are our assets. So now we need to combine these into a project. So I'm going to use Opus to build this. You can use whatever model you want. Whenever you're building things inside of Warp, if you use Auto, this is just going to kick it over to, I think, Sonnet for the most part, and then it'll fail back to OpenAI if it calls a tool incorrectly. You can also use Cost Efficient if you care about token usage. I believe that's using GPT 5.1, but it changes depending on what the state of the art is. That's the whole reason to use Auto. Trust us. We vet these, we run our eval suite, and we decide what should go here. But I'm super opinionated, and I think Opus is awesome, so I'm going to reach for that. And that's my default inside of my profile switcher right here. Okay, so I'm going to make a new project, and I can do this myself, or I could demo terminal use. Maybe. How about that? Create a new Astro project that doesn't use any frameworks, but includes the Tailwind plugin. Yeah. I was thinking if we need an adapter. I don't think we do. So let's go ahead and do that. And I might kick it over to my fast profile, which is Haiku. So we're going to do that. I know how to do this. I use the Astro CLI, but perhaps you don't. So this is just going to run create. Oh, look, Houston's a little Christmas guy. Look at that. That's so cute. But now you can see Warp is able to interact with the CLI here. So it should be able to look at it and decide what to do. Yes. And I'm just going to auto-approve it and let it select all the defaults for me. So now it's just like running. It's literally running the CLI for me. It's choosing the options inside of the prompts so I don't have to as a beginner, which I think is kind of cool. It's a very surface level use of terminal use. You can do much more complicated things, but it's my favorite demo because the Astro CLI is very cute and very easy to use. And npm takes a while. I should have told it to use pnpm, honestly. Tell the model to retrieve possible new features and implement to improve the project. Yeah, I know what you mean. Because it does use web search, we could ask it to use the latest Astro practices or something like that. And we probably will once we start prompting this thing out. So let's do that. Now I'll add the Tailwind plugin. There you go. Yes. Amazing. It's just going to do that. And I'm so used to writing code, you know? It still amazes me when I'm like, oh, I don't have to think. I could actually walk away if I wanted to. But here we go. And now that the code base is set up with Git, it's asking me to optimize it. This is a flow that you can do inside of Warp. And also, I'll let the team know that this popped up in the middle of a prompt because that's a little hard to use. But if you hit optimize, this is going to index the code base first off. So it's going to generate a Warp MD. If you've ever used Claude, it's like a Claude MD. You can actually use a Claude.md and Warp will read it the same way. But if you use our flow, then we'll use Warp MD right there. So this is just going to go through our project and decide what the starter for the Warp MD should include. So it's just trolling around at everything that was created, and it's going to do this. And because it's Haiku, it's going to bang its head into the wall a couple times. It's not the most accurate of things. Okay, great. So what did it do? So we created a Warp MD, and we can actually look at the changes. Look at that. So let me zoom out a little bit since we're really cramped here. I just noticed my stream froze, or at least my screen share froze. What happened there? That's the first time I've had my screen capture freeze on me. Am I still plugged in? It looks like it. Let me go over here. Sorry, y'all missed some of the things that I was explaining there. Is it normal for Warp to crash on your PC? Absolutely not. Definitely curious what's going on with that. Okay, is that working? Yes. Okay, is it working? Yeah. I'm not sure why we lost our screen capture. But yeah, if it's crashing on your PC, that ain't right. If you're able to give us any debugging information, we can definitely take a look. GitHub is the place we go for issues. You can also join our Slack community, but GitHub's the most publicly accessible. So look for the Warp GitHub and report what's going on, because that is not right. If you're using OBS on Mac, that happens to me sometimes. I've been using OBS for years. I haven't had it... I've had OBS do a lot of terrible things. I've seen it completely stop working with my camera and all sorts of things. But freezing a screen share is... I don't think I've had that in a little bit. So that's good to know. Maybe I need to... There was an update that I decided not to install. So maybe I should have. We will find out. Okay, so this set everything up with Tailwind, and it also created a Warp MD over here to save it on some lookups. This is mostly just going to be the README since we haven't done anything yet, but it's good to have it. So I'm just going to add everything. Add Tailwind and Warp.md. Push that up. And, we don't have a remote. So let's... I'm actually going to create this repo on the Warp account at the end so that we have everything open sourced. So let me just avoid pushing to remote for now. And then I'll set up all the permissions for that later, because this is going to push to my personal if I push it right now. Let's hold off on that. But yeah, now let me hop over to my default, and let's start coding stuff. Let's do it! So first let me actually just move all of these assets into the project. There's not really a need to use agent mode for that. Well, you'd be surprised. I've done very dumb things. So let me move drawers into... This good advice. Projects. This is hilarious. How did it know? That's spooky. I think I want this to go in assets, although I don't remember. Let's do it like that. Let me make that directory actually. Make dir like that. I have to make the assets directory and then drawers. I think there's a recursive flag too that I should have used there, but I'm not fancy enough to remember that. And let's also move letter decorations over there. that. And then let's move the letter texture. Now I'm already doing the mental math, and I'm like, agent mode would have done this faster if I just asked it to move all the assets. Agent mode would have been faster than me doing this myself. That's so funny. All right, so now let me ls, and we're good. All right, chilling. Now, I noticed the file tree doesn't update right away. Like, if I close it and open it, it does. That's another thing I should mention to the team. Okay, so now we have assets. So if I open the file tree over here, I should see it. Yeah, so assets, drawers, whoops. Crap. So I think it's assets, drawers should be moved into assets/drawers. I see how that happened. Heck. Okay, let me just ask it. Move assets into just assets/drawers. Ditto for letter decorations. Just do it. Hello from Portugal. That is so cool. Yeah, welcome in. Good to see you. I don't know why I was afraid to try it. Let me try it. Oh, you can't hold shift to select. That's terrible. Okay. You can't hold shift to select all contents. That's, But I think this should work. So if well, it already did it. So let me, our file tree needs work, okay? So if we look at it, it did do the thing, but let me at least experiment here. So if I do that, no, that doesn't work either. Yeah, there's so many things missing. Oh my gosh. So let me actually make a sticky note here of everything to complain about. Okay. Let me complain about things. File tree didn't update when we moved files. Needed to open new tab. Dragging directories should move them. Shift plus click should be multi-select. There. I will make to-dos for all of those things, and I will ask Warp to prototype them. That is how we do things. We just write down what we want, and we just go ask it. Okay, I'm waiting for people to say it's VS Code but worse. I'm waiting. I know you're gonna say it. I know you're about to say it. No, it is not. It's in your terminal, which is lighter weight, and I like it. Anyways, let's do some stuff. So I'm going to start a new conversation here. You can do that with Command-Shift-N, by the way, or use the conversation switcher right there. And I'm going to use plan. Plan is something you can put on the front of your query to prompt the agent to write up a planning document for you instead of one-shotting something. You probably heard, oh gosh, it froze again. This is bad. Yeah, I haven't dealt with this before. All right, so every few minutes, I'm going to need to stay on top of this, unfortunately. Why? Why is that happening? It's weird because my camera isn't freezing. Like, I'm still talking. But yeah, thank you. Yeah, when did it freeze? It froze a while ago. Oh my gosh. So I'm going to need to be checking on that. I will install the OBS update after this stream to see if it helps. But yeah, that's a shame. I don't know what's going on with that. Learn something new every day. You're getting a Radeon. Well, all right. I'm currently filing a bug. Okay, great. Yeah, for the issue. And if you can do like a stack trace of some kind for your app. I don't have great instructions for Windows, but any information you can provide, like your system info, as well as what you did leading up to the crash, is helpful. And we have people who are looking at this stuff. Yeah, I know. Well, thanks for letting me know. And if it looks like it's frozen, but I didn't notice, shout out in chat. I'm checking. Okay, so let's plan something. And I'm going to use voice mode for this to make it a little bit quicker. So what do we want to do first? Well, we've set everything up. I think I just want to start with a simple grid. And I think we can just model it with CSS. Like, how far into it do we want to go? If we're using a planning step, perhaps we can go really deep on it. Oh, and we also need the background at the very end, but we won't worry about that just yet. So let me just copy this and just throw it in the prompt. So you can drag images into Warp, and it will add to your prompt. There we are. and I'm going to say something like, I am building an advent calendar. Right now, we just have an Astro project and an empty page. And inside of the assets folder, we have all of the image assets that we're going to need to create the screenshot that I'm sending to you. I want to create the advent calendar as the screenshot shows, and I want it to be vertically and horizontally centered on the screen with... we won't worry about scaling just yet, as long as the thing fits on the screen, like object fit. And I want to set it up with the same masonry grid layout that you're seeing in that prototype. And I want to match each drawer inside of that with the corresponding image. So you'll notice in assets/drawers, there are PNGs for each day on the calendar. And they include the number for the day, the images, and the wood background. So use those assets and create the masonry grid layout in the screenshot. Yeah, there we go. I was forgetting, do I hit the stop button or do I hit the function key again? I'm pretty sure if you hit escape, it'll lose it. All right. Let me put the plan back. Building an advent calendar, I just have an Astro project. Inside the assets folder, we create image assets. So you can see we transcribe things very nicely. We're using Whisperflow under the hood. So if you have a Whisperflow subscription for coding, you don't need one in Warp because we have it, which is nice. Okay, and I'm using Opus, which I think is a really good planning model for this sort of thing. So it's just going to take a look at what we've got. And I didn't talk about the other assets because we do have them, but I don't think they'll be relevant yet. Let's just start with the masonry grid. Yes, you did. To understand their dimensions. Oh, look at you. So it's actually going to look and inspect the sizing so that it knows. That's a good idea. Drag images built in? Yes, it is. That's something I've heard from Claude Code users can be very hit or miss because it's a TUI. So it's tough to like upload things inside of a TUI. But since Warp is like the application layer, we can actually handle it similar to how a cursor might. Okay, so we're grabbing the global styles. We're doing things. You might have a keybind that freezes the OBS and don't know. I don't think so because changing the capture device. Oh, it froze again. Yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe I do. Let me. I don't even know what I would look for. But yeah, it just keeps freezing. Sheesh. And the only option that I really have is to change input devices quickly. Which is tough. Okay, so we will see. Oh, and I have someone from Twitch asking about another project. Okay. Yeah, it's happening a lot with OBS. That is, I don't know what's going on. I have not had trouble with this, even on the last live stream. I changed nothing. I didn't even update OBS today. I changed nothing. So why? Oh, man. No, and I finally fixed my lighting situation. Like, I got a light, I made everything look nice, and then new problem, because streaming is hard. Okay, but hopefully you saw the plan animate in, because it does live stream the plan, which is kind of cool. So we have the problem statement, we have the implementation, wood texture background, nice. It figured that out without me even telling it. We have a CSS grid, 12 columns, 5 rows, unit size between 86 and... I don't know if that's true. Each drawer is an image, totally. Oh, okay, I see what you're doing here. So it's going to create a grid, and it's going to decide how many rows it takes up as a kind of hacky way to make it work. I wonder if it'll actually work with the dimensions. We'll refine positions during implementation based on actual pixel alignment. But it's a good first stab. Very cool. So it's just going to edit index, body centering, dark background, import images, apply styles. Amazing. Apply styles with Tailwind. And you can edit the plan, and it will know about the edits, by the way. We re-inject the plan into the prompt so that it knows you changed something about it. And then you can do Command Enter to execute this plan, or you can type out a custom prompt, whatever you're trying to do. All right, so now it's just going to go do things. And I could switch models if I wanted to, but I decided not to. And okay, it's going to apply styles to the body using the global CSS. I think that's fine, but I would have done it differently. I'll just let it. And I'm also going to set it to auto-approve because I found better luck just letting the agent run without worrying about editing or course correcting. I found usually it's better to let the agent do the task, and then at the very end, once it's done everything, leave commentary on what it did. Because if you try to course correct in the middle, you may be misunderstanding what it's about to do. It may actually decide on its own that it did the wrong code diff. Like, at this point, I just auto-approve, and I just manage with Git when I need to roll things back and move things forward. To each their own. Obviously, there was a flow there to decide on auto-approving. Another thing that I learned recently is, like, our auto-approve is really permissible compared to other tools. Like, I think in Claude Code, you have to approve each type of command as they happen, and then it builds up a list over time. In Warp, you just decide, I want to auto-approve all the things, dude. And if I ever feel like it's going bad, I'll pull the ripcord and turn it off. It's a one and done. Like, you don't have to constantly go through all the prompts to figure out, oh, that's auto-approve, that's auto-approve, that's auto-approve. No, it just auto-approves everything or nothing. And if you want to refine it, you go in your profile permissions. So I can preview that here. Like, if there are, like, fine-grained things that you want to change, like a command allow list or deny list, you would go here to edit that. You don't have to approve them in the moment. So if you just wanted to add a regex, you could do that from the profile editor. I don't know how Cursor does permissions, but I think Cursor just auto-approves everything too. I don't know. Okay, so it made a thing. It made a thing, and we can look at the changes if we want. Those are all the files we added. That's the Tailwind. These are all the images, so it's just laying it out right now. And it didn't use Tailwind. It didn't use Tailwind, my man. Okay, so what I'm going to say is refactor to use Tailwind. It didn't notice the update to my plan. That is a shame. But maybe it didn't need to use Tailwind there. I don't know. Maybe it didn't. I would rather it uses Tailwind classes than inline styles, but that is fine. And we should also just start the server. I like to do that in a separate tab. And if I ever need to pull things into context, I can do that. So here's a fun thing you can do, by the way. If you wanted to reference the output of a separate block, you can do @blocks and then reference the output. So if you want to run a command in a separate window, but still allow the agent to read it, you can do that by using @blocks. Cool thing that I didn't even know existed until someone told me about it. So now you know. Okay, so now we've refactored it to use Tailwind classes. So we have refactored this to be div calls, repeat. We have the background. We're using amber for the color. And then we're doing all of that. Okay, cool. So now let me start up that dev process again, and we'll look at it in the browser. I'll pull that up. I mean, it was a first stab. My first stab would have been terrible too. So this is tough. This is like a visual problem. Like a very, very visual problem. So let's see how it did compared to the other one to better understand here. Because it did some things right and some things very wrong. Okay, so if I pull these up side by side, did it lay them out in the correct vertical? Yes, it did. So we have, I think day 6 got truncated. No, day 6 ended up over here somehow. So it's kind of a mess. It's kind of a mess, but that's okay. It's a visual problem. I'm also curious if perhaps I should undo these changes. So one thing that you can do now is you can revert to before the Tailwind changes. So now I've reverted back to the styling from the original, just to see. Maybe the issue was the Tailwind refactor. It kind of was. So this is a little bit closer, no doubt. So let's go ahead and let me actually start a new conversation just to clear everything up. And then we'll say, oh gosh, dang it. This is brutal. Like every few minutes we are losing screen capture. I'm so sorry, y'all. But there's nothing I can do to fix it other than end the stream. So I'm kind of screwed. It happens when you open the browser? Let's find out. So if I go to the browser that I have open, no, it just happens when it feels like happening, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't think that's it. I think it just happens when it happens, which is rough. So I don't know if y'all caught anything I was talking about. I've been using auto-approve depending on the task, just because I can. That's lovely. So you can stay up to date on what is changing. Yeah. So what I did there is I hit the revert button on a diff, and I removed the Tailwind changes to see if it would improve. And it did. So let me just start from here. So I'm actually just going to stage everything without committing. That's what I do when I'm like, the agent did something right. But it's not commit worthy yet. So let's go ahead and start a new convo. We're going to paste in the image. Oh, I lost the image on my clipboard. Let me go back. Okay. So this is what we have. All right. We're going to include both. Here's a picture of where we're at and where we're going. On the left is what the browser window looks like for index.astro. And on the right is the masonry grid layout that we're hoping to achieve. It looks like we have a lot of spatial issues to work out because the images don't line up in a perfectly clean way. So I like that we're using CSS Grid, but I'm not sure if it's going to work perfectly. Inspect it and decide what we should do. And you can also reference a plan, by the way, if you want to in a new prompt. So here I've said, I've started a new conversation, completely new conversation, but I'm going to reference the plan from earlier inside of here. It's kind of nice. So plans aren't scoped to a conversation. Plans can belong to any conversation. You can create them in one conversation and resume them in another, which is very cool. Okay. Grid mismatch using 16 columns, but column needs 13 max. I don't know if that's true. Some towards expend. Day 20 positioning conflict. Yeah. So we will see what it figures out. Okay. Oh, and it's going to update the planning document as well. How cool is that? So it's going to update the plan to actually match what we should probably do. And then it should start executing. And if not, I will tell it. Look at that. So it just updated our planning doc to actually be this. Oh, that's cool. So now we have all the dimensions embedded in the plan. Very useful. Assuming these are accurate. I'm guessing that it got these from the files themselves. All right. And it's good to at least see the dimensions here because that should help with future steps. Yep, cool. I have a feeling this is going to be the hardest part of the build because personally, it would be the hardest part for me. Okay, so it added some comments and we also have, well, the only way to know about this one is to just accept it. So let me just accept that. And bam. You can also just hit enter. I don't know why I was looking for the approve button. Yep, our stream is still going, so now I need to keep an eagle eye out on the live stream just to make sure y'all can see what I am seeing. And by the way, as we're going here, definitely ask or shout out like things you're wondering about Warp or features that you want to see more in depth. The last time I did one of these live streams, people were really curious about just, show me this warp feature, show me that warp feature. I was like, all right, I guess we'll just take a break and show you that warp feature or whatever. I'll also auto-approve this. Auto-approve is scoped to a conversation. So because I started a new one, it's doing that. Okay. And let's see where it's at. So it's using natural sizes. I'm making guesses without carefully mapping. Let me take a step back. Keep the CSS grid, map positions precisely. Well, let's see where it ended up, right? So if we go to our browser, what's it going to look like? Let's find out. Closer. Closer. Not quite. We're getting somewhere. So what happened? Okay, so it looks like the images in general can clip. So I need to do this. Oh, I see what's going on there. Yeah, all right. So, whoa, yeah, these are just not in the right position. Well, gosh dang it. Yeah, why is day 12 next to 5? That doesn't seem right. Maybe the better answer is absolute positioning instead of CSS grid. Yeah, I don't know. Keep CSS grid, map positions precisely, requiring tracing each drawer in the target to determine the exact grid placement. Tedious, but maintains clean CSS. I don't even know what it's suggesting with that. Use absolute positioning. Position the drawers at exact pixel coordinates from the target. More brittle, but guaranteed to match. I mean, we're not doing any rescaling. Like if you grow and shrink the screen, it's not going to adapt the layout in any way. At least I wasn't imagining that it would. So I don't see a problem with absolute positioning, to be honest. Thank you. Every 5 minutes, it just goes down. Okay. I got it. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what to make of it. CSS grid with corrected positions. The issue is I was guessing positions rather than systematic. What do you mean by systematically mapping them, though? I do not know. What do you mean by trace the target? I have no idea what that means. It is tough with visual problems like these. I would think this is where we would actually want to have an MCP for browser use, which is something I haven't tried before. It would just take a moment to set up. So I'm going to continue on this path. Look at the right screenshot you provided. Manually identify where each numbered drawer sits in the grid. Are you sure? Jesus. Okay. I'm also thinking we may have to jump in and handle the absolute pixel positions. I'm also curious if Gemini would be better at this, because Gemini is very good at visuals. It's very, very good. If this fails, I'm going to switch to Gemini and see what happens. Because this is like the only reason I've heard for like why anti-gravity exists, why Google made a model that cares so much about images, is to deal with front-end positioning problems. So maybe Gemini's the better pick, and I have the option. So I might switch over to that, depending on what happens. Day 8 is not missing, by the way. Oh, it is visually missing. Yeah. Huh. Okay, yeah, it's really struggling right now. It's still wrong. That is still wrong. No, it is done a very bad job. Okay, so let's... Interesting. So Opus is not great at visuals. Let's try Gemini. So I'm going to start a new conversation again. I've started working on positioning all of the drawers in this layout to match the screenshot on the right. The left is the current state of the dev server. You'll notice that drawers are mispositioned and misaligned. We need to figure out... You know what? This might... It's worse to start from a broken state. It's better to start from an empty state. So let me just... Let me implement it like this. Container wood structure. Spans or absolute positioning if that is not possible. And let me just remove, I mean, can I remove all these columns and such and just let it reason through the problem? I'm getting creative here. I want to figure out, like, how could I get the model to do this? Because I have a feeling that Gemini is going to do a better job. I hadn't considered that when it comes to visuals. But this CSS grid layout, it ain't working. So let's just remove it and embed these. I know I feel like such a caveman with what I'm doing right now, but it'll be quick. So let's just remove the notion of all this stuff and just go at it from here. Files to edit. Yeah. All right. There we go. So this is a good looking plan. I'm going to reference it and I'm going to say, I want to implement this plan to position all of the drawers inside of this masonry grid layout. I've shown a screenshot of the final visual that we want. Look at it closely to see where each drawer is positioned in the list, and then figure out how to style everything. I've included the image dimensions in the plan. All right. And let's see if Gemini does a better job. So what I'm going to do is kind of hollow out the index astro file. And now I can show you can edit files. Look at that. So here I'm just going to edit this file. We don't have astro syntax highlighting yet, but hopefully soon. And, oh, yeah, we do also have Vim motions. Let me just do that. And there we go. Okay. So let's just do it from a fresh conversation. We are indeed frozen again. This is exhausting, y'all. Okay. All right, so we have this going right now. We have our plan right here where I've set it up with the container and the drawers, and I've just put in the image dimensions to see how Gemini thinks through the problem. And this should save it a bit of time without it having to go look up all the files to figure out what's going on. Start by exploring the code base and checking existing assets. All right, fine. So you're going to do it anyways. Yeah, I'm telling you, there is nothing determining when it freezes. It just freezes every few minutes, and I don't know. I don't know, man. That probably Disney movie where the princess has ice powers. Are you talking about Elsa and Frozen? Yeah, well, I wish I could just let it go, but I cannot. Yeah, really, really sorry, y'all, that most of the comments right now are people telling me when the screen is frozen. I want the commentary to be about warp and the things that you can do. But yeah, we will do a dry run after this with the OBS update and see if it's more reliable. I don't know. Another option is I'm using an external display. Perhaps if I switch over to my laptop display, it would be better. It means I won't be able to see chat. Well, actually, that's not true. That's not true. Let me mess around a little bit. So I'm going to move warp to my laptop display, and I'm going to move you and the chat and everything else to my monitor. So that way we're live sharing the monitor instead. Maybe that'll be better. Let's find out. Okay. It's almost set up. So I'm going to head back to screen share. And right now y'all see yourselves. That's fine. So now I'm using the built-in Retina display. So this is just my Mac. I mean, it's not going to be perfect, but it's doable. Okay. So maybe the problem is just the connection to the external display for some reason. Let's find out. Maybe this will work. Okay, cool. And I can still see chat, so that's nice. All right. We will see. We will see if it gets frozen or anything like that. All right. And Gemini is much slower. That's part of the reason that I was using Opus instead, is I just wanted to get things going. But I will set it to auto approve and I will see what it does. Oh, I think it's the wrong screenshot. Oh, no. No. I should start it over. As soon as you have bad context, it just doesn't work. But okay. Maybe that'll work. I included a lot of exclamation points. Surely it's going to work. I included a screenshot that showed the broken layout on the left. Man. I don't know what it was seeing. Not carefully formulating. Leveraging the plan's grid coordinates to produce image placement. I will employ a 14-column CSS grid, including day 7 price foundation. I'm now carefully mapping day 6 and day... I love this. I'm now deep into designing the Astrophile. Deciding to map day in. The narration in Gemini's head is hilarious. Yes. I'm now fully immersed in the layout specifics. I'm focusing on mapping each day to the correct grid position. I'm now okay, that one's normal. Amazing. I'm now carefully examining coordinate overlap, specifically between the plans that... Yes, I've determined that the initial plan's grid coordinates provide the most accurate layout data. Okay, what is it saying now? I reviewed the existing Astro page in Global CSS to understand the current structure and styling. The assets directory has been checked, confirming the availability. Now I'm focusing on adapting the existing code. All right. I'm zeroing in on the layout details outlined in the plan. I'm leaning towards the use of absolute positioning within the grid container for precise drawer placements. Good. I had a feeling there was no way to do this with grid comfortably, unless you just do a different layout that actually scales in a nice way. All right. It's doing a lot of reasoning here, y'all. A lot of reasoning is happening. Is there anything we can do in parallel? That is the question. Because we do want to have the... we do want to set up content collections, don't we? So let me in parallel do something here. It will fully understand because I've used exclamation points. Oh god, it still froze. It still froze, y'all. It still froze. Oh, man. OBS, you are being horrible to me today. I don't know what to say. It just stops. It just doesn't work. I'm so mad. We can do window capture. Oh, that's not going to work very well. Let's, I can capture just the warp window. Let me see if, you can actually see anything above it. So if I do this, that happens. Oh gosh. Okay, so you can't see that. Yeah, window capture's not going to work great, but we'll at least try it for now while we are doing things inside of the code base. I'm doing everything in my power to make this stream go a little bit smoother. Everything in my power. We will see. Let's continue. Now it's just emojis. Now it's emojis. We just know what's going on. What a mess. I can't believe OBS failed me today. Can you talk about the tech stack you guys use for Warp? Yeah, totally. So this whole app is built with Rust. So we use Rust top to bottom on the client, and it's using a custom UI framework that was built in-house before I joined, like years before I joined. And it's using, it's inspired by Flutter, if you've ever heard of that, which is a mobile application framework. And our layout system adapts the way Flutter does layout to Rust functions to accomplish the same sort of thing. So everything you're seeing is rendered with Rust, which is very cool. And also hard to contribute to, but when you have agents on your side to learn the code base, I was able to learn Rust much faster than I would have joining Warp in like 2022. So it's a whole house of engineers that have been using Rust full time for years to build a client-side app. It's a very rare group that, they're very experienced people, as you can imagine. I say they. I'm also an engineer. I also have some experience, but we've got people here who've worked on this since it was created like 4 or 5 years ago, and they know everything down to the rendering layer. So they can answer any questions that you might have if you ever ask them around Twitter and other places. That's how it's built. And then the back end is built with Golang. So everything that we're actually doing with the agent here, this is being piped down from a Golang-backed server that is sending all of the events back and forth using, I believe we use some GraphQL, and then for the tool calling, it's just straight REST message passing. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's definitely an exotic setup compared to a VS Code fork or an Electron app or something like that. I'd say Golang is the most normal part of our entire stack. And every day the engineers complain, could this be built in Rust? Should we refactor our Golang to Rust? And then we do not. You know how it is. Okay, so I don't know what Gemini is doing, I'll be real. It's taking a long time compared to Opus. A very, very long time. I have not seen Gemini this slow. I was using Gemini last week, and it was faster than this. It was definitely faster than this. But hopefully it works. We will see. It looks like we haven't even used that much context. Yeah, 98% of context remaining, so it's not clogged up on a context window or something like that. I don't know what's going on, man. I think Gemini is just very slow to respond today. So at the same time, let me at least try to do something here. So I'm using Opus over in this screen, and I'm just going to say, stand up content collection called days. This should contain markdown files with each day on our Advent calendar. It should have just a body, and that's it. We don't need any front matter properties. And we should be using the latest patterns in Astro 5 for creating content collections. We can just leave the schema empty. Now that I'm thinking about it, it should just have a body. Do we want an image and a URL as a front matter property? I would prefer that. My face is in front of the prompt. Nope, it froze. I don't know what causes it to freeze, to be honest. I really do not. Okay, so we're going back to display capture because it didn't even matter. So let's just go back to that. Oh, man. All right, so we'll move that back up a little bit. And then over here, this is what I was saying. So we've got that. We're setting it up as markdown, right on content. And I don't think we need to say much else. And hopefully it uses some web search. Let's find out. Someone was asking about web search earlier. Yeah, look at that. Astro 5 content collections. It's not 2024. What? My guy. I mean, there's only so much you can do. It doesn't know what year it is. That is so funny. I've seen this as a weird problem in LLMs where it doesn't know the day. Oh, wow. Okay, a lot of code was written. A lot has happened. Okay, so let's inspect. Oh, man. Okay, all right. So we're using some JavaScript arrays. We are using grid. What? Interesting. So what is happening? What is happening? Oh gosh, what is happening there? I don't know what has happened. But yeah, it's not even valid synth. Okay, so Gemini's off right now. Gemini's off its rocker. I don't know what to make of that. But I don't think our boy Gemini is feeling too good today. Wow. So this is another thing to be wary of when you're selecting your model. The model provider may not be reliable, depending on what's going on. I didn't realize the situation was this bad with Gemini at the moment, but wow. It's either a bad roll or a bad day, but yeah, Opus has been very reliable for me. That's why I've been using it this whole time. I just wanted to try out Gemini to see if it was better at image reasoning. And it is not. This is proof that I'm doing this live, by the way. This is just me trying things out in public the way that I would if I was coding this project myself. It's a shame that we're kind of working on the tooling the whole time, though. So I'm going to kill this job, revert the changes that it made, start over again. All right. Let's hand it back to Opus. Implement this layout using absolute positioning. And I'm just going to go over to the browser. So there we go. And we're going to grab that. I told y'all this is going to be the hardest part of the whole thing. No doubt. Is just laying out the grid. And we can set up the other things on our own. But let's see what it's doing with this. This is great. With URL front matter, then I'll run a quick type config validation. Great. Go for it. I have a feeling that will take some steps because it's creating a bunch of files. But this was fun. Thanks for highlighting warp features. I'm excited to use it. Well, yes. Yes, absolutely. I'm excited for you to try it out. And thanks for coming in. Okay. Yeah, that's right. So we're using glob, we're using base, we're using URL, and it's saying a string that starts with that. We are going to change that setup, but it is nice that they at least scaffolded all this out for us. Okay, cool. So I'm going to do a little bit of a git add here. Stage just the changes that you made. Yep, so there we go. And then I'm going to, at the same time, do something with this. Oh, let me also, I think I have some things staged that shouldn't be. Could be wrong, though. This is where I would honestly, well, this is where I would run a git reset. Let me run a git reset on that. There we go. Yep. And at the same time, I'm going to go ahead and do this. I think they're working in sufficiently different parts of the code base, so this should be safe to do. And you can also do git work trees among other things. I'm just not doing that. Wait, it did? Are you sure? Are you sure? Wow, nice. Did it work? Yeah. Very nice. And then not staged is that. Great. All right, cool. Did it generate a git commit and I just missed it? Whoa. Add content collections. All right, cool. And then over here, it looks like we are... I'm not sure why it seems to want CSS Grid. It doesn't even mention CSS Grid. Well, I guess it does. Dang it. I should have just started over with the new plan. I was just trying to be a little bit clever. All right, it's frozen. I'm fixing it. Don't worry. Okay. All right. And we're just going to let it figure out what to do here. This is tough. Yeah, I figured it out. Don't worry. See? I got you. I got you. I'm faster than you. It's probably the stream lag where you sent that before I realized it. But on my screen, I was first. On my screen, I was faster. Just saying. OBS, please fix this. Okay. Yeah, this has been kind of brutal, but at least we have all of the days set up. And in parallel, oh, I don't think we want test, but we do generate test now, which is very cool. So we have content config. I'm going to change this to be zstring URL. And I would prefer these to be tweets. So let me go over here. And I'll just manually update the days with the tweets. So if I edit this, I should be able to just copy the Twitter URLs, which is some manual work that I need to do anyways. So let's go over here, and I'll look for... Okay, so this is day 1, unofficially. So that's day 1. And I'm just copying these from off stream. Nice. Okay. And then we can just close that. And this is going to take a minute, no doubt. There's some manual work I got to do. And unfortunately, I can't tell if this is going to freeze after this point. But we will see. I think... Yeah, okay. So I could do this as well. All right, that's better. So I'm just gonna do it like this. All right. Love it. And then the link is that. Great. I don't know why command is not closing it. That's weird. And I'm also having trouble with this. It's just very confused now that I've told it to use absolute positioning. Wow. All right. So let's just re-roll completely and use a different plan. Normally this stuff goes smoother, but today it is not. All right, that's all right. So let me just copy this, put it in this layout using absolute positioning. Use the... Oh, that was a command that I ran. Drawers. Wait, why is it in public assets? Oh, I guess that's fine. Use the public assets drawers for each drawer. Oh, would Figma MCP actually help us here? Because the Figma MCP would give it all the information that it needs. Ooh, I just thought of that. Okay, 1 second while I go on Facecam, because I'm going to make sure that my Figma MCP is set up here. I hadn't considered that. Okay, let me try that. Let me try that. Because the Figma MCP is going to give it the dimensions, which is what we need right now. Okay, so I have my Figma desktop set up. Okay. Yep, I'm authenticating right now. This is a very cool thing. I'll show you in a minute. In Warp, now we have MCP servers that you can share across your team. So I have a teammate that shared Figma as an MCP server with OAuth, and clicking on it just let me authenticate directly into Warp. So now I should have Figma OAuth. And I'm going to copy a link to selection, and I'm just going to see if it can do it. Implement this. Yeah, let me just hop over to Opus. Implement this layout using... Implement this layout. Each image, whereas image is in public assets drawers. And y'all can see this now. All right, each drawer's... Oh my gosh, it's frozen even though I was tabbed away. That's incredible. Okay. And the restart capture is grayed out for some reason. Each drawer's image is in... I'm just going to tell it use the Figma MCP. So here's a new approach. I don't know why I didn't start with this. For some weird reason, I thought I should start with the planning step and grid and all these other things, but no, I should be using this. So let's see here what it ends up doing. Nice. Okay. I think it did a thing. What? I should have done that. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let me show y'all what I set up. In settings, and I think I could show y'all this, yeah. We have this thing called MCP servers and shared MCP servers. So you can see down here, our team is called Warp. By the way, that's why this is confusing. Warp is our first-party integrations that we share with all of our users, and Warp is the name of my team. So I have a Warp team and also Warp the company that shared MCP servers with me. And you can see the team shared a few MCP servers here. So I just enabled Figma, which was shared by a teammate. And by clicking on this, it just redirected to the OAuth flow. We don't store your credentials. You OAuth yourself. And then it redirected back. I have Figma MCP set up now. And I can just use it. So inside of here... What did it do? It implemented the advent counter with absolute positioning. Look at that. I implemented the advent counter, each drawer's position using coordinates derived from the Figma layout. If this worked, I'm going to cackle. Let's find out. Okay. Okay. I don't know. Oh my god. I could have just started with the Figma MCP. I can't believe it. I'm so dumb. Oh man, who needs plans when you have a mock-up? Okay, so if y'all need a reason to use MCP, I think this is the best pitch I've ever seen. Just use an MCP if you have a design. Oh man, that's funny. It nailed it. It absolutely nailed it. Okay. So, all right, so let's commit this. Oh man, let's commit this. All right. Amazing. Well, hey, this was an excuse to demo every single Warp feature. We talked about the model switcher, we talked about planning modes, and now we get to talk about MCPs being better than anything I showed you. Oh man, at least we got some of this done in parallel, so it wasn't a total waste of time while it was running. Oh man, okay, so this is probably just drawer positions from Figma. Yeah. Amazing. And then we're using an Astro for loop. We're grabbing all the things. We're throwing it in. And we didn't use Tailwind. We just kind of used native CSS. And honestly, I don't care. I think there's nothing wrong with that at all. Okay, so we have... And it looks like it moved all the assets to public assets, which makes sense. That's actually where it probably should be. So let's kill that asset directory, and I'll just double check that that's how this is set up. Yeah. So everything was moved inside of there. So let me just remove the assets folder. There we go. And that should make things simpler. Okay. Yep. So let's commit. And this is another cool thing. You can @mention files when you're using like when you're doing this sort of thing. So you can see here, you can use git add, and then you can use the menu to grab file paths quickly. So if I wanted to grab each of these, for example, I could do that. I actually want to commit the index.astro, and I also want to commit the global CSS. And I don't know what happened in the package JSON, so let me open up the diff view to find out. Looks like so I never committed, the TypeScript edition. Yeah, that's useful. But that'll be a separate commit. I'll hide that. So let's go ahead and add that. Style images in the grid. And I also need to stage. I think you can do it like this. Yeah. So you can just do like 1 through 31. All right. And then I think we hit quit. And then it just says bye, which is very funny. Okay, cool. So now we're just going to say, yeah, whatever I was saying there. Nice. So now we should have some other stuff in here. Yes. So we have that, and that. It's a big old package JSON change. So we'll add package lock and package.json. Add TypeScript checking. Nice. And then over here, we started adding all of these. And we still have some work to do on that. Let me just do it then. Add first 2 days. Okay, sweet. All right. Oh, and it froze again. Don't worry. My browser is Dia. I am using Dia browser. It is the browser that is not really a fan favorite, to put it lightly. I don't think devs are too fond of Dia. But unfortunately, Dia is a beautiful browser, and I really like it. So I went back to Dia. I was using Zen, and I left. I'm one of the few developers that tried Zen and said no. Whatever. To each their own. I like that. I like Dia's styling, and also the built-in little chat. Yeah. What do I not like about Zen? It's Firefox, and I can't use it. I'm sorry. Firefox has worse dev tools, a lot of weird bugs. Like if I'm trying to check out on an e-commerce site, sometimes Firefox just borks out and doesn't work. And I'm like, no, I need a reliable renderer. and Chromium's reliable. So no. No. I use Arc, yeah. I'll be honest, I'm convinced that the command tab with the AI chat built in is really useful. As soon as I lost it, I missed it. I really did miss it. And I wanted to go back. I am actually convinced that Dia with the sidebar chat and the main chat, it's small, but it works. It's really, really useful. So that's where I'm at. Yeah, that's it. If Zen was... Honestly, I would still use Dia, even if Zen was using Chrome. I know, switching browsers is dumb. I used Helium. Helium is not a nice browser to look at. Because it's just a bunch of patch diffs on top of Chrome. Okay, this is not what the stream is about. But I find Helium ugly, and that bothers me a lot. More than the average developer. Like, I have pretty high standards for, like, how do the micro interactions feel? It's why I loved Arc so much. And I'm just like, Helium feels very hacked together and not good. I'm sorry. And Dia's free, so I just use it. Yeah, UI and UX just matters to me. Anyways, side tangent over. We figured everything out. Amazing. Now we need to actually get this thing functional. So there's a few things we need to do on the styling side, but let's just jump to functionality. So let's describe how we want this thing to work. /plan. I have set up a content collection with all of the days on our advent calendar. The URL for each day is going to be a link to a tweet. I've only set up the first 2 days. I'll get to the other ones soon. How I want this to work is when you click on each day on the calendar, it should open up the corresponding content collection entry as a pop-up modal. And that pop-up modal will contain the body of the markdown file for that specific entry. And it'll have a little button that says, go look at the tweet. And that will link to the URL that the content entry includes. I think I described that correctly. Oh gosh, I was holding the wrong keyboard shortcut there. I've set up a content collection called Days that includes each day on the calendar with a body describing what happened on the day and a URL that links to a tweet. I've only set up the first 2 days for that. And I'll set up the other URLs eventually. How I want this to work is when you click on a day in the calendar, so one of the images, it should open up the corresponding content collection entry as a pop-up modal. And the pop-up modal will include the body and a button linking to the tweet. Okay. That should transcribe now. And I can also give it a little bit more sauce if I want to. So I could do like that. Yep. The URL for the first 2 days. And I'm fine leaving the context here because the context window is still pretty good. We got 76% remaining. So let's go ahead and do this. And this should troll around a little bit and let us generate a nice plan. Zen doesn't have DRM support, so you can't even watch Netflix? That can't be right. That can't be right. I'm sure Netflix works. But yeah, Firefox has a lot of problems for sure. Yeah. All right, so let's go. Oh, it froze again. Don't worry. And we've only got 15 minutes left in this stream, so hopefully we're going to get something really nice here. Now we're just working on functionality, which Claude Code should work on really well. Man, I could have saved us like 45 minutes if we just used MCP. But look, the plan's streaming in. Yay. But at least I will say the point of this stream is to show y'all how you can use Warp effectively to build things. The point of the stream is not to be hyper productive and ship a startup or something, you know? So I think I've at least done my job there. I just wish I'd called out Figma MCP sooner. I didn't think of it. Okay, so content collection there with 25 markdown file schemas. That drawers rendered as static image. Approach client-side HTML dialog element. Yes, dialog element. Chef's kiss. Pre-render all content at build time. Show hide with JS. Yes. All right. Get down content collection. Yeah, nice. Dialog close. You're after my heart, Opus. Yes, let's use browser native dialog elements. We love that. We're not using React. We're not using anything. All right. So let's get that diff going. You will not be able to make stream content from the following. Oh gosh. So that's the error code that you get using Zen with Netflix. Crazy. Yeah. Okay. And I'm going to respond to my Twitch chat real quick. And we should see this plan execute in real time. Okay. Oh, it failed the check. Shocking. A rare miss. Oh gosh. Okay, so invalid URL. That's actually me being dumb. So let me see here. Most days I play Solar Pass, I'll update the schema to accept any string. That's okay. Yeah, we'll start there. We will start there. That makes a lot of sense. Yep. Okay. So we've done that, and you can also get a credit breakdown. I didn't really mention this, but it'll show you literally everything that the model did. And it looks like we fall back to Sonnet sometimes because of failures. Like if Opus ever does something wrong, we fall back to a different model for that request. So it fell back to Sonnet during some moments, which is kind of interesting. So let's find out. What did it do? What did it do? So it didn't fail. It actually failed because I had bad data. It's my own fault. Ooh! Oh! It does a little hover thing. And we also need to add a background to this wooden block. Okay. So let's see here. If I click on one of these, it doesn't do anything. Huh. That is a rare miss from Opus. Okay. I like the hover animation for the images, but when I click on an image, nothing seems to happen. Let's see. And I will also inspect to see if there's some client-side error getting thrown or some other issue. Let's see. So clicking on it doesn't, yeah, it's not doing anything. We have a button around each of them. That's good. Nice and accessible. We have drawer, day. Do we have a script getting injected? Hopefully. Yep, we have one of these. And I've worked on Astro a long time. I know that I can debug things just by doing this. So let's see. Yeah, all right. So if we're looking at this, yeah. So it's doing a query selector all, padded day. Yeah. All right. Huh. So let me just try adding a debug statement just to find out. I will open the index Astro. That's not the contents of the file, right? Surely not. Doesn't seem right at all. Huh. Why is it out of date? That is completely out of date content. Huh. Well, I have another option. I'm just going to use NeoVim and open index.astro like that. So if we look down here, so we have query selector all, button add event listener, click, get attribute, get day, padded day. Oh, okay, so now it's actually trying to figure out what to do. Document query selector, document content padded day. Ooh boy, it's getting really creative to actually find the content. Very interesting. Yeah, so we're padding the start of it with it's padding the start of it with 2 zeros, which seems weird. Yeah, we shouldn't have named the files the way that we did. That's definitely true. So let me look at it like this. Padded day. Okay. All right. And then if we head back to our web browser, let's find out. Oh, y'all can't see the browser. Am I sharing a window when I should not be? No, I'm capturing the whole display. Huh. Maybe it's frozen. That would make some sense, yeah. Okay. Ah! Whoa, why is that working now? That is so strange. And it figured out that it should use this texture. That's insane. Okay, I don't know why it's working now. I guess I just had to refresh the page. Maybe it was bad hot module reloading. Well, holy crap. Finite Singularity! Oh gosh, welcome in. I just saw you on Blue Sky. I was like, man, I haven't stopped by a chalkboard stream in a long time. How's it going? Okay, what? Let me continue this. Well, the format of this stream has changed a lot. I used to go deep on TypeScript problems, and now look at me pasting screenshots into a box. I wonder how your streams have been. Busy. You're telling me, man. Okay. Never mind. Never mind on that. Okay, so let's just keep going. Okay, this looks pretty good. So the problem is the dialogue needs to be centered on the page. The close button is a little bit misaligned. And I noticed that the bottom border is getting cropped off, probably because of sizing issues or something else. Oh, it's because the border's baked in. Oh, I could fix that. Hang on. It's because the border's baked in. Yeah, I know why that is. Let's just fix that ourselves. So if I open the file tree, I'm gonna go over to shoot, losing myself. All right, assets, letter texture. Yeah. So let's crop out just the inner contents of this, so that way it doesn't have the border baked in anymore, and it can dynamically resize. Love it. Okay. And now if we go to our preview, it should look correct now. Let's find out. Burp. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So now we just want to add a border, and we can grab the exact border color from here. Okay. Yep. We'll just grab that, copy that. And this is just stuff that I can do myself. Yep. Oh gosh. I'm clicking on my stream preview thinking that it's the terminal. Okay. So now let's go inside of here and let's just add a little border to it, right? So we can ask it to add a border. So we have calendar, drawer, dialogue, modal content. Okay. I think, it'll be the dialogue for sure. Yeah. Nice. This is well structured. And then we have our backdrop over there. So I'm just going to add in border 2 pixels, solid, that. Okay. And then if we head back to our preview, yeah, that looks great. All right, so we fixed that problem. I'm just going to add a bit more sauce. Oh. Yep, more. Nah, it's too much sauce. Too much sauce. Dial back the sauce. Less sauce. Okay. So this looks lovely. All right. And if we do day 2, does it go to the tweet? Yes, because it's a hyperlink, and that's how the web works. All right, cool. I noticed that the bullets aren't styling, though, which isn't great. I think it's using... Oh, it's just a Tailwind style reset. That's what's going on. So we just want to add the bullet styles, and then we're pretty much good to go on that. And we also want the fonts. We want the fonts. So we're going to need to set up fonts. Let's start with just the layout stuff, though. So if I click on this... well, I mean, I know how to vertically center a thing. I do know how to vertically center a thing. I honestly can't remember which screenshot it is, so let me just do it like this. All right. And let me also just do another checkpoint here. Yep. And we'll do make drawers clickable. Nice. I'll push that up. Oh, I'm pushing later. That's right. That plan was super helpful there. And then we'll just say some styling tweaks. I want the modal to be centered on the page and have a bigger minimum size, because right now it's pretty small if there isn't that much text. I also want the tweet button to be horizontally centered, and I want to use this font. And I'm gonna go grab that font. I've also noticed sometimes it does HTML formatting. We never really fixed that. What a shame. But it will help with the model at least. Let me go grab something. Okay. So the font is Gelasio. I want to use the Gelasio font for the body. Use Google Fonts plus font source. All right, that should be good. I'm doing a lot of OBS core and plugin dev. Heck yeah. Yeah. You're the one streamer that you're already too powerful with your setup. The fact that you devoted yourself to just make your setup even more powerful. It's scary, honestly. Like you've already peaked. Is this really necessary? He's too powerful. This is the way. Hey, Finite, can you help me understand? Sorry about the peaking. Can you help me understand why OBS keeps freezing with my screen capture? Because this stream has been totally derailed by my screen capture just freezing every 5 minutes. I've never encountered this before. And I've tried using a different display. I've tried using window capture instead of display capture. It's macOS, yes. I haven't installed the update because I was afraid to install an update. And now I'm being bitten because I didn't install an update, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I just need to install the update after the stream and it'll fix itself. But maybe you've seen this before. I don't know. It's probably some funkiness with the encoder. Yeah, well, it always is. Also, is there a way to not switch displays to force it? Because I've noticed the restart capture button is grayed out. And I'm like, why is the restart capture grayed out? I have to temporarily switch to a different display and back again, which is jarring. All right, it's running Astro check. Let's go. All right. So let's see how it looks. Yes. Just yes. Okay, so this button is misaligned. We'll just ask it. This button is misaligned. Look at. And I'm just going to start a new conversation for this to save on a bunch of tokens. Let's go ahead and commit that. And what else changed over here? Oh, it added a font. Gelasio. Yes. Add the Gelasio font. And fix dialogue styling. As you can see there, I have a meeting to go to. I will go to it as soon as we commit this code. Oh yeah, position fixed. Gosh, that's horrible code. Yes. So this is the last thing that I'll leave y'all with, is you can review all the code that was written by hitting this main button. Super cool. This is just the diff viewer. So if I go against main, I can look at everything. We're committing straight to main, so we can't do a PR preview. But if you're doing a PR, you can actually look at all the changes you've committed instead of just the uncommitted ones. I've committed everything, obviously, but that's how I would go in here and leave commentary and review the code that has been written. Because so far we haven't really looked at what's going on. We've done a cursory glance, but that's about it. Oh, now it's up there. What happened? We've regressed. We've gone backwards. I don't understand what happened. We were doing so well. Oh, man. Let me head back over here and understand. So what did it actually change? It changed the dialogue styling. What? A rare miss from Mr. Opus, because that ain't right. So it did fixed top left, transform, translate. That is the classic. So yeah, let's just revert those changes, because that ain't right. That ain't right, man. This is something that I would actually go in and fix myself, I guess. So if we go to our close button, we can see position absolute, top right. That's fine. We have no border. We have a width and height. Border radius there. We have transition background. And then I'm very curious where... yeah, all right. So we have close, and then we have the symbol for times. That is clever, because we didn't have an icon for it. I think that's why. I think it's just like text alignment issues, because we're not using a proper icon. I could be wrong, though. But the classic fix is like display flex. Justify content. And I have no language tools installed, as you can see. All right, so let's see if that helped. It did not. Yeah, so it's text alignment. All right, I got a meeting to run to, but this was productive. We definitely took the wrong path. I recommend using Figma to use your mocks. So that's a very important thing we have learned. If you have any complex layout, copy the link to the Figma file and use Figma MCP. It is going to be so much more reliable because it can get all of the positioning information instead of having to look at the screenshot and discern all of the pixel implementations. Like, we can just look at the code here that it wrote. It got all this information from the Figma diagram, so we didn't have to copy paste it ourselves. It just got all the pixel locations and put them in here. Because this is a very specific example where we want the layout to match pixel for pixel. And I think it does some scaling as well. No, it does not. It does at least a bit of cutoff, but there's much to improve to make it look a bit more like this. And one of them is definitely having it fit on the screen. But now you can see all the drawers open, which is very cool. And my screen capture broke, which is not cool. But yeah, you can see right there we have all the things. You can open any drawer. You can look at the tweet for that day. We have this one set up right now. And then if you click on it, it'll go show you a video. Very cool. So I'm going to finish this up off cam, and we'll launch this website on Friday. And the website will have tips for all the ways that you can use Warp. And I think it'll be really exciting. So, yeah. We'll also open source it. So if you want to look at the code, you certainly can. So be ready for that. We'll be sharing it out on Twitter. So follow Warp. If you're not, you should. We're at warp.dev on the Twitters. And we'll be sharing out tips every day if you're at all curious about how to use Warp more effectively. And yeah, I hope you all enjoyed the stream. We're trying to do more ad hoc things like this, but definitely expect a stream in the coming weeks because we have a very exciting launch that is coming up. So get ready for that, and I will see you all on the next one. Take care.